Okay, people, so I just spoke to my landlord, Mrs. Gill. It is January 16th of 2024. What is it, day 5, City of Surrey? Now, I didn't go out yesterday because, you know, I did manage to do dishes and a little bit of cooking, but that chicken never made it. The, what is that called? Kale never made it. So that's whatever. So anyway, I don't know. Basically what's happening here, January 16th of 2025, everybody is vandalizing me. I've been on this property for 14 years. When I moved in, half a yard was full of sand and gravel rocks, cat shit, and morning glory. Well, the morning glory was from one end of the house to the other end through the whole fucking thing. All right. And the rest of the yard was basically weeds. All right. And the backyard was a mud pit, grit, full of weeds of all kinds, with morning glory growing 4 inches a night, with raccoons shitting in it, with a drainage problem yet to boot to make more mud. Okay. Well, the side of the house was nothing but morning glory and weeds. Okay, and including the front on this side. Okay, so I spent 12 years basically out in the yard. Okay? I have the videos to prove it. And of course, I'm a poor woman, so I couldn't go off and go to Home Depot and buy new wood and, you know, and whatever. And so I had to be a little thrifty. And, you know, don't forget, they tore up the front yard after I laid down the bricks and everything so that the sand was covered up and people could walk on it without, you know, stepping on cat shit and all this crap and whatever. And then they fucking fixed the pipe and they ripped everything up, moved everything, and then expected me to do it all within months, which it didn't happen because, you know, I'm only one person, can only do so much. All right. So anyway, because I've been gang stalked, right? Because, you know, people want this house, right? They want more money. Okay, we know that. Okay, so I've always taken the hit with the whip on my back, right? You know, whatever. Well, what's happening now is basically they've, you know, my son he's already thrown my stuff out of the basement after he moved this girl in because she wanted more space. And she felt that she had the right just to start throwing out my stuff as she geeked up my son to be vicious about it, to justify what they were doing. Literally throw out my stuff, sell my stuff behind my back, give it away, throw it in the garbage, let it pile up, be abusive towards me, be rude to me, okay? I went through that 2 times, going into the 3rd time, as they're, like I said, going behind my back. Well, 3 times, really. They did it 3 times to me, people. And they're still throwing out my stuff. My son didn't do any yard work for 14 years outside of a few little things that he helped me with along the way when it came to lifting things. Like the cement blocks. He'd help me carry those from the car or whatever so that I could cover up Mrs. Gill's sand. All right. You know, he helped me a little bit to start with the greenhouse, but at the end of the day, I ended up paying men to build it. I paid them. And then I did the rest by myself, what they didn't do. I only paid them to do the things that they couldn't do, and I did everything else basically by myself. I've been battling with this porch for years, having to hang on to, I guess, garbage, so I could try and prevent it from leaking all over the place and rotting out. My son had to have his friends come and do major repairs on the porch, which piled up a bunch of wood out in the back that's still there, rotten wood from the porch, so that it wouldn't cave in. I'm just saying. He busted up Shamay's piano because that girl wanted more space. So I had to forfeit on Shamay's piano, which he ended up busting up. Beautiful piano. Andre said, yeah, all it needed was tuning. I said, I know, Andre. I bought all the tuning equipment here to tune the piano. And I asked my son before all this happened with throwing my stuff out, if he would, try it with me and Andre to try and tune it for fun. But no, he's too busy. He didn't have time. And then that girl got the bee in the bonnet that she wanted more space because of her sewing. So next thing you know, my sewing rack is out with all my fabric. They raided my food storage area for 14 years. They busted up into shit. Shit disappeared. We know that, people. Okay, I dealt with all that as shit was piling up outside. I was trying to throw as much as I could into the garbage can as it was being thrown out and getting ruined. But eventually it just got too heavy and too much. Last year, not this summer, but the summer before, or whenever my landlord came for fucking more money, and they threatened to kick him out and all that shit, or told me to kick him out so they could get more money because they wanted, okay, whatever. Like, this is a sickness, people. My son told him that, he was going to take that broken down piano and whatever was out there at that time to the dump. And that he was going to do that, but he never did. He let it sit there. And as it was sitting there, then he fixed the porch for my landlady. Didn't ask her for no money, nothing. He just did it. And more wood ended up out there. As he's continuing to throw out shit from the basement out there. Okay? As now he's going around the yard and then he busted up the playhouse. Grabbing all the children's toys, justifying it by saying that it's UV damaged, even though it was fine for what was needed. Okay. So anyway, I just got off the phone with my landlord asking her about this bin. I don't know what kind of fucking bin they're bringing, people, but they're bringing a big ass fucking bin in the front. Because it's huge. As my landlady is kissing ass with my son so he can abuse me even more. Because my son is saying he's cleaning up my mess because I brought all this junk. Now don't forget, the City of Surrey doesn't have an annual spring cleanup like the Delta District has. They used to have annual spring cleanup. But they stopped it years and years and years and years. Well, they stopped it when I moved into this house around that time. Because they didn't want to pay the cost of an annual cleanup where people went through their yards, picked up miscellaneous whatever, and then put it out on the street. And then, people would come, pick through it, take what they want, and then the trucks would come after and swoop up on the garbage and roll off. And that, okay, Delta, the district next over to me, does it every year. They put the cost and the burden of that on to the homeowner. Only I'm not the homeowner. Okay? I'm dealing with a yard that is way too big for one person to work in it by itself all these years. With no money. As the landlord is inching up on the rent every year. Because she's going to squeeze me out one way or another. As I'm being gang-stalked with these calls to come because I can't work fast enough by myself. As I'm hanging on to what little materials I have because that's all I have. And then I lose my car because, I couldn't afford to keep it on the road. Then it just kind of sat there and fell apart. And then I lose my eyes. So for the last 2 years, I haven't really been able to get out in the yard because of my eyes. And plus, we know Amari takes up a lot of my time with the laundry that I do upstairs, cooking or whatever. Okay, as I'm asking for help. Tisha, I think, only mowed the grass one time this year. She doesn't help me with anything other than to mow the grass, right? And my son only mowed the grass one time this year, and he got Andre to actually mow it. But other than that, people, that's all they did. They didn't help me as my son's piling up shit. Things that he didn't want for himself. He didn't want the playhouse there because he justified it by saying Tisha wouldn't let the kids play in it even though he put a whole bunch of fucking wood inside of it. So even if they wanted to play in it, people, they couldn't. because he stuffed it full of fucking wood that he brings home from work. And then I said, well, no, like they're old enough. Leia May is 5 and Kyrie is 3. You know, Leia May's 6 and Kyrie's like 3 or whatever. No, they want to play in it. Oh, no, Tisha won't let them play in it because she doesn't like her kids to get dirty. I said, you gotta be kidding me. Just fucking leave it for another year or two. They'll outgrow it, right? And plus she's leaving, right? But what did he do behind my back? He fucking tore it down and threw it into the pile as he's picking up other things and just throwing it into the pile, people. Even little plastic lawnmowers that Andre used to play with. So Kyrie can't play with it. Oh my God, people. So this is like emptying out the basement, throwing out my stuff if they're not selling it behind my back. At least 400 collector videos in their VHS videos. At least 400 or more. In the original covers. Disappeared. No, you did not drop that off at a thrift store. $10 a video, 400 of them at least. That's $4,000, people. Went out the fucking door. That's just one example of how my shit's being destroyed. Not to mention everything else. Right? So anyway, she said that she got a $350 fine already because they've come to the house too many times over the years. 4 or 5 times, based on other people calling and complaining. Okay? The last time that big pile of junk that ended up out there, that became a fucking heat score, where my son ended up getting Marina's father to come with his truck, that was my son throwing shit out, throwing all my stuff out, just whatever. Just whatever. Okay? And then he went for round 2 and started it all over again and busted up the piano, threw this in there, threw in chairs, desks. He took out desks from inside the house, like sewing desks, whatever, you know, just didn't care if it got ruined, didn't care to put it out in the street so somebody else can have it. Just put it outside, let it fucking get rained. Took fucking dressers out from downstairs, busted them up. Then he got into the garage and started taking out things that had, like, you know, wall units and stuff that had sat there for 10 years in that moldy fucking leaky fucking garage, and then got mad at me because they were getting moldy. Well, yeah, they've been sitting there for like 10, 12 years before you started fucking pulling them out. What do you expect? That would be normal, right? But don't get mad at me because they weren't put in that way. And, you know, I mean, like, whatever. But that all piled up, and as he's throwing it out, people, I was busting it up what I could and putting it in the fucking garbage can. So it's not like I wasn't fucking trying to get rid of it, but it just got too heavy, too much, too fast. And then he left it there. Because, whatever. And of course, my landlady, I got a $350 fine. I said, well, they can't do that to you, Mrs. Gill, until they give you a chance to clean it. Oh, no, they already have. Oh, okay. So, but they're telling me to get rid of you. I said, oh. So the city now is apparently telling my landlord to get rid of me. Well, she's telling them she can't. But we already know she's been trying for years, people. Okay? Because she wants $3,500, $4,000, $4,500 a month for this house. Right now she's saying $35 because she knows she can get $45 based on what I've built. Whether I paid for the materials new, or whether I paid men to do what I couldn't do, or whether I scavenged around as things were being torn down to build it so I didn't have to pay for it. Okay? But of course, none of that matters because I couldn't do it fast enough. Andre, go see what is jumping on the counter. Andre! Please, something is jumping. A cat. Obviously, I wasn't a man. I wasn't strong enough to do it by myself fast enough.
There's no cat jumping.
Well, then I don't know. You're maybe putting something there that's teetering. Okay? And they're using it against me because they expected me, these people expected me to do the whole yard under the conditions I moved into it. So now she's saying, your son is in charge. I'm not talking to you no more. It's your son. Because they're feeding into his ego, people. They want him to be even more abusive towards me. So that he can justify doing what he's doing, being a fucking asshole while he's doing it. Okay? I'm using him as a tool. He's cleaning up my mess while you're walking on my walkway for whatever fucking mess you're cleaning up. Okay? When you get into those sheds, when you want to fucking take it over and throw out my shit so you can put your shit in there, it was me and Uncle John, when he was around, who made those sheds. It was me who paid men to help me make those sheds when I wasn't fucking putting the floorboards in myself with whatever wood I had at that time. Okay? I reminded her that I asked her that, because she said it wasn't her... She said it was your responsibility to do the yard. And all you did was bring in wood and rotten this and that and make a big mess. That's what she said to me. I said, Mrs. Gill, I begged you to have your son come this year and help me. Right? No, she said it wasn't his responsibility, that he was busy. So it is Marquin's responsibility to clean up the wood, take it away from me, not that I can do it anymore, because I can't, because clearly I couldn't even finish what I needed to do this year, people, because I'm too swamped with Amari. Okay, between doing the laundry, right, cooking for him, doing dishes every day, having to deal with the stuff that was being thrown out into the garage, having to fucking either throw it in the garbage because it got ruined, or try and figure out where I can put it upstairs, or whatever. Rearrange. They trashed Tisha's room. It took me fucking 3 days to fucking figure that out. And even then, they kicked me out of the basement and said I was being intrusive. And I haven't been down since. And then they went in again, and then they went into another fucking storage area, that little cubby underneath the steps, and they pulled everything out of there. And threw it, well, it was a cubby that they pulled out. God knows what's in there. I do believe some of that stuff was sold off or given away or thrown out. I don't believe it's all underneath the steps now. I don't, people. Right? And now that that's all done, and of course my son is power tripping because he's got that girl. Oh, you go, your mother is the problem. You know, yeah, you just throw out her stuff. It doesn't matter because I'm the one that needs more space. I'm the one that's important. I'm your wife now. Fuck your mom. She's never, not once, ever helped, not even for a second in the fucking yard, because she's already laid down the law that she doesn't do yard work. My son hasn't helped for 14 years, and now all of a sudden he's God, and he's going to clean up my mess, as my landlady is encouraging him to abuse me. And justifying it by saying I'm the problem, because all these years, for 14 fucking years, it was always my responsibility to do her yard for her. Even though it was a shit yard from the get-go. And just because they take out this and make it fucking whatever, I told her, I said, you do realize he's digging up the flowers, Mrs. Gill, right? Flowers? I said, yeah, he's digging up the flowers, Mrs. Gill. Well, I don't know about that. So now she's got him grabbing shit from the back, carrying it along the side of the house, and putting it out in the front because it's got to be a big fucking spectacle. Because the thing I've noticed about people like this that do this kind of shit to you, you come into a trashy fucking yard, They expect you to solve their problems, cover the sand, cover the weed, deal with the water problem, deal with the fucking drainage problem, deal with the rotten wood, the rotten porch, deal with the shit, whatever. You fucking deal with it. You moved in. It's your responsibility. You deal with the weeds. You deal with the raccoon shits. You deal with the garbage that's already in the yard. Only it doesn't look like garbage because it's sand, it's mud, it's a drainage problem, it's full of weeds, morning glory, raccoons running around shitting everywhere, right? You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't look like, because it's all flat, right? Where I came in and I built over it and I tried to cover over it, but it was so much work, so hard, and so time consuming, and just too much that, well, I broke down. My eyes went on me, people. And then, of course, Amari. Because, you know, right? We know how that works. Right? I already told you how it works, people. If they're not putting too much shit in your eyes to freeze your eyes where you're spitting out big green gobs and then expect no fucking, what is that called? Consequences around that. They're sending Shimei home 5 days in a row, 2 times from the hospital while she's in labor, and then we wonder why Amari came out injured with brain injury from lack of oxygen. Well, it probably had something to do with those 5 days. And then when I get her medical files and his medical files, apparently one is missing, where I had a lawyer look at it and says, well, I read the files and it looks like that whatever happened to him happened before birth, but honestly, I can't be too sure about it because there's still 1 page missing. Okay. I'm just saying, right? So anyway, she hates me now because it's all my fault that I couldn't keep up with her yard. But after it's all cleared out, the sheds are going to remain. The greenhouse is going to remain. The walkways are going to remain. The basic garden beds are going to remain. Right? What borders that my son didn't rip up with what flowers are left that he didn't fucking dig up are going to remain. But everybody will forget that I was the one that did that. I was the one that has thousands of hours documented on YouTube over a period of years and years and years and years of me being outside for 10 to 12 hours a day, from 10 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night, with the City of Surrey's whip on my back, doing whatever the fuck it was that they wanted me to do, just so that I could do my landlord's bidding and not get paid for it. But they'll forget about that because all they see is, I don't know, planter pots moved, borders taken out of the ground, and stumps that were put in place to be a border for something so that the weeds could be controlled or whatever. Point is, my landlady is given full control of the yard to my son now, as they're all talking and conspiring behind my back that I'm a terrible person, that I've done nothing but cause trouble in this yard all these fucking years because I guess I didn't know what I was doing. So that they don't have to be responsible for their negligence because they're too busy. Because they're too busy. Her sons are too busy to come work in their yard. Right, well, we know that because when I moved in, it was nothing but weeds, sand, gravel rocks, fucking mud, raccoon shit, drainage problems, morning glory all over the place, broken pipes, broken fucking outlets, everything, people, everything. That was all my fault when I moved in. At least I built a greenhouse. At least I got sheds built, right? You know what I'm saying? At least I laid down fucking cement walkways that didn't fucking erode over time and just turned into one big cat fucking litter box, okay? Or one big mud pit. At least I tried to deal with the fucking morning glory and got at least 3/4 of it out of the property. There's still a good amount of it, but I got rid of at least 3/4 of it off the property. At least I fixed the fucking fences for 14 fucking years until this last year when everything really started to fall down because those things were rotten when I moved in. Okay? At least I tried to prevent the fucking porch from fucking leaking for 14 fucking years, but at the end of the day, it did take my 14 years. But at the end of the day, it did take my son last year with his buddies to fucking pull out old rotten wood that's sitting in that fucking pile over there as my landlady's accusing me of throwing it out there. Okay? So that the porch itself wouldn't come fucking crashing in and then she'd be stuck with her broken fucking porch. And then what? She's going to accuse us of breaking the porch when it was rotten when I moved in. And I have fucking video proof that it was rotten when I moved in and leaking all over the place. And I've been battling it since day one. And I'm still battling that. But all of a sudden, I am the fucking villain here, even though I've been legally blind for the last 2 years asking people to help me. It was like pulling teeth to get my son to even fucking mow the grass last year. And even then, he got Andre out there doing it because Tisha wouldn't talk to me because we got into a stupid fight over something. So she didn't do it. But prior to that, it was her that was mowing the fucking grass. Prior to that, when I could see, it was me. Like, this is a sickness, people. My son is accusing me of using him as a fucking tool as my landlord is propping him up and making him think that he has the right to talk to me the way he does because of her negligence, not looking after her yard, getting her sons to come and even help. I said, I pleaded with you, Mrs. Gill. Well, he couldn't do it. I said, why? Well, because he was busy. Oh, and I'm not? Amari's not important? It's not important that my stuff is being thrown out by my son because of some woman that he met off the fucking internet? All of a sudden moved into my house and designated herself to be fucking queen and start throwing out thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of my belongings, not to mention selling it off and making money for themselves when they could sell it off if they weren't giving it to their fucking friends as they're still throwing my shit out? And then they go on the attack with the yard while my landlady's jumping on that fucking bandwagon. Yeah, you like to throw out children's fucking toys, Mrs. Gill? I know you've always been harassing me about children's fucking toys. You had the city tell me to move them all to the back because they didn't want no fucking color. And then when I moved them to the back, all of a sudden now I have my sons running around fucking throwing them out. They hate kids. My son doesn't want Kyrie and Alea May to play with anything. Neither does my landlord. Because it takes away from the aesthetics of what? A property that's going to be ripped apart by a freaking shark that's going to go and fucking build a building that nobody can afford? Or maybe it's just going to be in one of those shadow buildings so that they can roll up in the alley with their fucking hospital, whatever those vans are called. You know, Andre, is this true? Am I lying? Can you hear me? Andre! Can you hear me?
No, what?
Come here for a minute. I want you to hear this before I even ask the question.
Hear what?
This is important. Please come here.
Man, just laying down.
How many times, I know that, how many times in the last 2 months that you can remember that you've been laying here thinking you've heard somebody cry for help? I've heard it once.
Help?
Yep.
Like,
Help! Help! Outside, somebody calling for help. A woman's voice. How many times?
2.
2 times. 2 times in the last 2 months, I've heard it once.
Second one I was not very sure though.
You know why? It's hard for me to run out there in the dark, go looking. It wouldn't be the first time. People get attacked in this fucking alley. Shit happens.
Tell you how that fire happened over there.
Yeah, okay, that's all I wanted. Okay? Right? So, like, you know, like, don't tell me, you know, like, for all we know, these people could be crying for help because these vans are rolling up on them. Because they gotta hide what they're doing, people. I'm the villain. I'm the one that was in the yard all these fucking years. And all of a sudden, my son becomes the savior because he's good at throwing everything out, including children's toys, children's playhouses, wood that could be used for borders because borders now all of a sudden become insignificant because all it's going to take is a lawnmower to roll over the fucking weeds, and it doesn't matter if they all merge together and spread out because that's not what we're interested in. So why advertise a garden bed when it's all going to be weeds in a few years from now anyway? And then they'll be blaming me that I didn't get out there and fucking weed. Do you see how it's going to flip? I let the weeds get out of control. Yeah. It's like her last year. Why aren't you planting? She looking at the weeds. What happened? I don't know. You asked him to clean up. He fucking got rid of everything and the weeds came back like a vengeance. Why aren't you planting? Well, why, Mrs. Gill? It's hard, right? It's hard to dig up the weeds and start all over again. Never mind fucking dealing with the morning glory that's now out of control because he made it easy for them to spread out. Right? Blind yet. With the inside demand of my grandson, right? Doing dishes every day with the laundry piling up because, you know, he's leaking out or whatever, right? Because, you know, right? Cooking. It takes me grinding up the food. Whatever it is, people. Rescuing my belongings before they really disappear or get ruined. I've been dealing with that shit for 2 fucking years ever since this girl moved in. And they're still doing it to one degree or another. I'm still finding my shit out there. And now it's everything in the yard. Well, my landlady's being a fucking viper about it. As if. Because she doesn't want to take absolutely no responsibility. What, was she expecting me to just live here with a bunch of fucking weeds? When they get real big and so many, like it was in the back with the mud and the drainage problem and the grit and the grain and the raccoon shit, you can't mow over that, people. Why do you think that greenhouse was built? Why do you think that walkway was built? Why do you think the fucking sheds were built? I can't even get her to change the freaking fucking pipe at the gutter up there, people. How many times have I done videos putting on that thing with the gutter, right? You know, with the pipe, right? Right? It just needs to be connected, right? How many out of all these years? How many times with the water just gushing out? She won't even do that. Go get a homeless person to do that for you, Judy. You know how many times she's told me to go and get homeless people to do work around here? Go get a homeless person to work in the bathroom. I did that. It didn't work 2 fucking times. I paid, she didn't, and it didn't work. And eventually, she had to get somebody to come in there and fucking deal with this broken pipe that was underneath the freaking vinyl in the cement. And then they broke the mainline pipe and destroyed the front yard that took me 4 years to put together, 5 years to put together. And they ripped it up. And then they expected me to put everything back that fucking year. And then they used it against me and called the city on me because I wasn't fucking moving fast enough for them. As I was working with the back, with the fucking drainage problem, laying fucking drainage pipes with drainage rocks to solve that problem. As they made a big problem in the front and left it that way. After I corrected the problem. And she's the victim. Because it's all my fault. Well, my son did nothing, very, very little. You know, carried a rock, some rocks to help me to put in the front because the pond was coming. Carried a few of those cement blocks for me as out of my trunk so that I could make it so that he has something to walk on versus fucking sand with full of cat shit. He didn't do that. I did that, people. I went blind because of it, people. Because I couldn't get to the doctors. I had to work outside, remember? 10 hours a day. Keep up with the weeds. Keep up with the morning glory. Keep up with the fucking sand and the water, whatever the hell was going on. Pay into my pocket, either for new materials or pay men to do what I couldn't do, and scrounge around looking for materials where I could get it for free. Did anyone ask my son to come and help me? No, not my responsibility. It's the landlord's responsibility. You know how many times he fucking said that to me over all these fucking years? And now he's using it against me by saying, your mess, you are using me as a tool. Well, my landlady is putting up his fucking weak-ass ego saying, yeah, you go. You be a fucking bulldog and eat your mother alive. Eat your mother. Go ahead. Be rude. Be disrespectful. As long as I, the landlord, don't have to be responsible for nothing because my fucking sons are busy. It was your mom that decided to cover up the weeds and the cat shit and the sand and the raccoon shit and the morning glory and the mud problem and the drainage problem. I didn't ask her to do that. She was expected to live with those problems, right along with you, Mark Kane. No, they're trying to force us out one way or another so that they can get their $4,500 a month. They'll charge $2,800 for the main floor, probably $2,000 for the basement, so that's $4,800. Because of the greenhouse, the sheds, the walkways, the gardens. And who did those? But I'm the villain. I'm the bad person. I'm the one that needs to be kicked out. Did I want my daughter's Shimei's piano busted up? Fuck no. I got piano tuning equipment here. I wanted to tune it, try and tune it for myself before I hired somebody to come in and do it, just for the fun of it, because it was so, it wasn't going to hurt anything. You're either going to do it or you couldn't. And if we couldn't do it, I was willing to pay to have it tuned. But that girl downstairs, no, she wanted me out of the basement by any means necessary so she could move in her fucking sewing while they were throwing my sewing racks and everything out. My fabrics, my sewing racks, all of it out. And it started to pile up. As I'm expected to fucking find places to put it. As it was getting ruined. As I'm looking after Amari going blind. And nobody even wanted to help me cut the fucking grass. And when my son finally did cut the fucking grass, he huffed and puffed and was mad at me. And had Andre go out there and help him. And that was it, one fucking time. And now he's running around raging. Being very abusive towards me while my landlady and their family is encouraging it to happen. Just so they can have flat fucking land, so it'll be easier to sell the fucking house. But yet they're still going to advertise the shed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The gardens, wherever they are. The greenhouse. The walkways. Oh no, they won't advertise that. They don't need to. That speaks for itself when you walk on it. That's better than sand. Even though my landlady says she likes sand. A half a yard full. For 14 fucking years. And I'm talking sand like this. At least 3 inches of sand. With a whole bunch of fucking gravel rocks underneath it. They were different sizes. Some were big and some were kind of small. But it was at least 3 inches of sand throughout the whole half of yard. And then you wonder why I don't want to live with my son. Nope. So I didn't go out yesterday because I did get into the kitchen and do dishes and, made food for Amari and, just trying to wrap my head around this, people, because I'm so depressed. And then the day before, I basically slept because I was worn out just from that little bit and just with the emotional stress around it because, like I said, I'm finding my shit outside again. And he's ruining children's toys. I have nothing to offer Leia May and Kyrie out in the yard. It's been robbed by the landlord and by Marcane. And I guess the city. As they're trying to throw me out onto the streets. All of them. Well, maybe not my son. What? Yeah, throw mom out and I'll stay. Don't worry, Mrs. Gill. I'll look after your yard for you. But yeah, get rid of my mom. Fuck her. She's the problem. Yeah. That's what I mean. I'm half dead, people. I'm dying. These people want me fucking dead. They're predators. To one degree or another, they're fucking predators. Right? If I die, my son gets my life insurance policy. To look after what? Amari? As if. Yeah, sure. Tisha's there right now, but she's moving, and when she moves, I'm taking her off it. But, fuck it. Why did I even go bother to pay for it? For him to talk to me like shit and treat me like shit? Because he's too foolish to realize what my landlord is doing. All she did was pawn off what she pawned on to me. Now she's just pawning it off on him. And because he doesn't want to nurture the land, he doesn't want to make dirt, he doesn't care if it's dead fucking dirt, he doesn't care if there's grass, all he cares about is flat. As long as you drive by and everything looks flat, bare bones fucking, right? That's all he cares about. Doesn't care about kids and nothing. Doesn't care about nothing. Doesn't care about his mom. No. He brings in some girl that wants to hurt me, basically, destroy my stuff, ruin my stuff, sell my stuff behind my back, give it away behind my fucking back, talk bad about me, say I'm the fucking problem. Yeah, but why didn't you come out and fucking help? You had how many years? 2.5, 3 years to help? Not once did she ever come outside and fucking help. Not once did my son ever come outside and help. All they did was pile up, pile up, pile up. Yeah. They don't help me with Amari. They don't ever say, oh, can we just, help you out with anything? Nothing. Nothing, people, nothing. I can't even go into the fucking basement and get my fucking food, for fuck's sakes. If it's not barricaded off because she moved her sewing right in front of it, right? The tension is so tight because my son is rude. Well, what do you want? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I'm sure you're just waiting for me to die so that you can either sell the food, give it to your friends, or fucking eat it yourself without feeling guilty. Either or. You inherit it. And then you'll still be talking bad because I got too many fucking kidney beans. Well, come talk to me in 8 years from now when you can't even find fucking kidney beans in the grocery store. If you're stupid and want to sell them, give them away, throw them in the garbage, well, then go fucking hungry because that's what you'll deserve. Because by then, you're Mrs. Gill with your little pack that you got going on with your high and mighty self and with her saying, yeah, you go eat your mom. You're the dog. Go chow down on your fucking mom. She's the problem all these fucking years. Like I said, I have to write a lawsuit, people. I have to. I have to. The City of Surrey should be providing spring cleanup. They used to have it. They took it away from property, from households, and then the homeowners put the onus on the homeowners put the onus on the renters to maintain on the yard and get rid of the refuge, right? But if they had annual spring cleanup, like other districts, Langley, White Rock, Delta, Vancouver, everywhere else except Surrey, well, then we wouldn't have this problem. If my landlord's son would have came 1 or 2 times in the last 1 or 2 years, I mean, the man must be really, really, really fucking busy to not come not even 1 time in 2 fucking years to help me with something that he promised, to which my son put on behind my back, the vinyl siding, and somebody knocked on my door yesterday and told me that it was being advertised for free. And I said, oh, well, I guess it's your lucky day, and took off with it. What am I supposed to say? Well, my landlady now is bringing in a monster fucking bin because she expects my son to go from, I don't know, and throw out everything in the yard as if she's evicting me. If everything gets thrown out in this yard, to the degree that I think could happen, because she's got my son so enraged, working like a fucking dog, carrying shit all the way from the back to the front now, which is double the work because this is some heavy fucking shit. She knows she's gonna piss him off. Right? And where is he gonna take that displaced anger out on? Me. Me, people. Well, his wife is geeking him up to get even madder because it's all my fault, even though my son had 14 fucking years to help me, just as much as my landlord with her sons or whoever had 14 years to fucking help me. And they're all walking on my walkways. They're advertising my sheds, my greenhouse, my gardens, my walkways. But I'm the problem. Don't tell me they don't want me dead. Somewhere inside of them, deep down, because it makes them feel powerful. That they got one up, lording. Well, we already know my landlady lords over me with her standing on that mountain, with me clinging on to it. And she's like, well, do it, come on. I'm not helping you. You have to do it for yourself. I'll just stand and watch you fall. Well, that's what she's doing. She's just standing there watching me fall and making sure I fucking fall. Because she would never, ever, ever help me up that mountain. And that's the point of that dream. And this is just an example of the truth around that dream. Because she's basically she's encouraging my son to abuse me, people. Because my son is not taking any responsibility for ignoring me outside for the last 14 years. Anytime I asked him, it's not my responsibility. It's the landlord's responsibility. If you want to do it, that's your business, Mom. And now, because they want to, one, sell the house, two, make it easier to kick us out, use me as the excuse. So I guess I'm going to have to borrow some money, what little money I have left on my personal loan so I can pay back Mrs. Gill, whatever it is that she fucking, whatever, so she can't use it against me, that I'm costing her all this money. And after the yard's wiped out of everything except what was built or cemented into the ground with those cement rocks, cement slabs, so that you can actually walk on something besides mud, grit, raccoon shit, cat shit, sand, weeds. But everything else will be gone. So if I want to do any repairs, because I was hoping to get out and do maybe some repairs, because I wouldn't have to do food storage or anything this year, because I'm not buying no more, right? I'm just trying to put it away and ignore what I can't get to, because I can't get to it because it's being held, I'm being held hostage to it. Like I said, they barricade it off. They make it where I can't go downstairs because they complain if I go downstairs and try and do anything, so I just avoid it. Right? I don't use the wash machine. I don't use the fucking dryer. I don't know, last time they moved my stuff, they just took it upon themselves to empty out, move it someplace else. I don't believe everything that was in there, what they emptied, ended up somewhere else underneath. I believe some of it was either sold off or thrown out. I do. I'm still finding stuff being thrown in that pile, not including the toys or whatever. That's just, it's sick. Well, my landlady is acting like I'm the fucking worst person on the planet, people. My landlady is acting like I am the worst person on the planet. And not once has one of her family members even came by and helped me for 5 minutes in this yard. Not once. I didn't pile that shit up in the back. My son did that. I was trying to throw it out between the recycle bin and the garbage bins as it was piling up so that it wouldn't pile up, hoping that he'd take whatever, the broken piano or whatever, to the dump, but he never did. So even he's using that against me. Got to the point where I couldn't do it anymore, people, because it was just, some of it just too big. You know, I couldn't bust it up. As he was busting up my furniture, it didn't matter if it came from inside of the house, literally, people, or fucking in the garage. The garage, okay, maybe I could see it because, you know, it'd been sitting there for so long, but it was in the manner, the way he did it. You know, I had like coolers, water jugs that I used to take to the park to do park events. They were on a shelf in the garage with a tarp over it because they sat there for so long, they were going to start, you know, they were getting a little mildewy, right? So I came downstairs one time and, you know, his wife was, "Don't kill yourself," you know, because he was pulling everything off, right? And screaming at me that everything was moldy. It was all my fault. And I'm like, well, what do you expect after fucking 12 years? You know, it would be, but, you know, I can see now that you brought out all this stuff, right? Like the coolers and the water jugs and all this, like when you do park events, right? You need those things. I said, just, you know, I'll try and get to it and, you know, bleach them down, right? I don't know what he did with them. They disappeared. Everything fucking disappeared. Except the broken down fucking wall units, which I ended up busting up even more and then putting it in the fucking garbage can to cut back on what he was doing. But he never stopped. And now they got him on a rampage. Yeah, screaming at me that I'm a fucking useless fucking human being. Okay? And that I deserve to be abused because I made a fucking mistake. And he doesn't appreciate me using him as a tool to clean up that fucking mistake. Well, where's my landlord? Why didn't she come out here with her fucking mistake and make it so that I didn't have to give up my life for her stupid yard? So that she could turn around and use it against me. Because the only people making money out of this shit is her and her family. And if she got $300 fine, $350 fucking fine, I will borrow that on my fucking life insurance. Oh yeah, I could borrow it on my life insurance policy. Oh no, I couldn't. I have to pay. I have to pay the interest on the life insurance policy because I borrowed money on the life insurance policy to fight for Andre. When they illegally apprehended Andre, and I never made a payment back, so the interest ate it up, and then eventually I had to pay something, otherwise they were going to cancel it out from right underneath my feet from 7 days from the day I got the fucking letter. It's like my son said, it sounds kind of suspicious. It was almost like a setup. I said, I know. Oh, but we'll just blame it on the mail strike. Yeah, okay. Well, I ended up borrowing money to pay that, and I suppose I could borrow a bit more money on my personal loan and pay my landlord back for the fine that I created for her because I'm such a lousy fucking person. When I was ready to fucking give up my life for her and be injured because she wanted to climb up the fucking plum tree and pick plums in the good days when things were good, when I was out there working like a dog every fucking day. Those days were good. Then she liked me. Hello? Who is this? Yes, Marcane. Okay, so I was talking to my son. He was actually quite nice to me. A little more sympathetic.
Quite.
Huh?
Quite.
Yeah. You know, because, like, seriously, there's a lot of finger pointing going on around here. You know what I'm saying? I did my bidding. I put my 12 years. I can't say, honestly, in the last 2 years, people, just with this situation, and it getting worse every day. I've been saying it on my videos. If you've been watching, every day I wake up, my eyes get worse and worse and worse. My son, when I went to go deal with my life insurance policy and make that payment so that it wouldn't go null and void, I told him I got to find Uncle John's cane and start walking with the cane. Just because it's just, I could see why a blind person would want it for a sense of security, so that you don't, like, because if you're walking and you come to a curb, you have the lip, you don't see the lip. So when you walk, you whoomp, right? It's just stupid shit like that, right? Or just whatever, if you're walking in an area where, and when you're outside, things, it gets worse because your eyes aren't used to it, right? Either or. I've been through a lot in the last couple of years, and Amari's getting bigger, and his needs are demanding, and the laundry is piling up, and and now with it's easy to give them those drinks, people. Oh, right. But in those days, doing a lot of whatever, like fucking food this and food that, and still laundry, and still have to do dishes, but now it's more kitchen because I'm having to grind his food all the time. But besides that point, my son said the only thing that we really need to watch for is that people aren't going to start throwing shit into this bin in the middle of the night. So we're going to have Andre, I suppose, looking out the window 24/7 for the next 3 nights in a row, because apparently they're dropping it off tomorrow morning and picking it up Monday morning. So that's Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night. Right? Where people can come in at 2, 3, 4 in the morning and start throwing their freaking garbage in it, and then we end up having to pay for the weight. That's what my son is concerned about. And I'm like, oh wow, that's all we need now, right? And he doesn't like the idea of having to whatever, but he said he'll do what he will do, right? And I told him, well, if that's the case, I'll go out into the back, because there was a couple of bags there that I filled up when I was out there working, but I wasn't strong enough to lift it up over the stairs and do whatever, and so I'm pretty sure they're still sitting there. So I'll just move them there, put them someplace where it's easy for him to get, and then I'll, remember I said there's certain boards on a video when I was talking about, when I did make the borders for my walkways and stuff. If there's there's a couple of things out there that I'm pretty sure I can grab up that, I don't want, because they need to be replaced, right? Right? The rain eats everything, you know what I'm saying? So, but if they want to come in here and be tyrants, fuck man, I don't know. I feel like, because my landlord's apparently coming with the mean son, the mean one. The one that threatened to bring the bin in and evict me. Do you see how hard they go out of their way to demoralize me and to dehumanize me and to criticize me for something that was always their responsibility from the fucking get-go, as they advertise the things that I built in this yard so that they can increase and justify their property price and have a better chance of fucking selling this house because of the sheds, the greenhouse, the garden beds, the walkways. Yeah. With no thank you, you did a good job, let me help you, nothing. Nothing. My landlady wants sand out in the front. She likes sand. Whatever. Anything to complain. So they don't have to be responsible for nothing. Anyway, my son's, he's a little more resilient. It doesn't bother him. Well, yeah, you didn't do the work I did. Never got a thank you for it. But now you're in, they flipped it. They put the onus on him now. And he's going to make it easy for himself. Flat weeds. Mow it over with a lawnmower. Can't complain, it's cut. But it's weeds. Oh well. That's what you wanted. Because he says he doesn't have time for the fine detail like me. And where I did more detail, no, he doesn't want that. He doesn't have time, and he doesn't. So, anyway, at least he was nicer to me. Right? But living here is hard, people. I don't like it. I'm so trapped. So trapped. And you know what? After this is over with, and like whatever fucking fine she got, if I can't pay cash, boom. I don't need to buy a lot of groceries, right? So I was going to buy another chicken because, you know, the one that's in my fridge is probably dog meat. It's coyote meat. It's crow meat. You go in the garbage and the seagulls will pick at it when it goes to the fucking garbage dump. I don't care. I'm not cooking it. I don't even want to touch it. They poisoned it with their politics. Yeah, these rich people. That's what they did. And I was going to order... I might still, just because that's my son said, well, whatever you do, Mom. Because I told him I'm going to work in the yard in the back next year. Like, you know, I don't want to muck with it too much because there's things I want to just finish up with, right? It'd be probably my last year. And, but I'll go out there and look for some old pieces of rotten wood that I couldn't salvage for anything that I need to do repairs with. Or whatever. Maybe I'll throw over that box spring. I don't really want it. I'll have my son throw that over. It's kind of cumbersome and in the way, right? I never did want it, really. Well, I kind of did, but I don't want to deal with it. So that can go over the edge. And anyway, I don't know, people. Andre wants to build a little fort. I just want to give him an opportunity to have those few memories before it gets too late in the game. He'll never get the chance to have them again, you know, and I have to do one repair on the greenhouse that I was supposed to do this year, but it didn't happen because of Mari. Honest to God, and dishes and laundry and just, you know, trying to stay focused. And I said, well, you know, next year I'm not doing no food prep. I'm done. I'm just trying to put things away now, right? But he's made it hard for me because I can't get downstairs really. But I told him sooner or later I'll be coming down there. But other than that, and you know, I'm pulling out fabric from my room. And as I'm pulling out fabric, I'm putting food in there. And then this year I'd like to maybe try and sell some fabric, sell some books. I don't know what I'm going to try and sell, but I'm going to try and sell it anyway. And I don't have to worry too much about food, but you honestly think my landlords are going to be satisfied with this? You don't think in 6, 7, 8, 9 months from now, 10 months, even 12 months, they're not going to come up with something fucking else and start threatening me with this and threatening me with that? And you don't think so? It'll be the fucking porch will be falling down. They'll be blaming me for that, people. Yeah. The only thing that kept up that plastic, rotten, leaky fucking roof over the porch is what I built with the X-Club. The only reason the porch itself didn't fall down is because of what my son did and paid for and built to prevent that from happening. As we're being told we're garbage because her porch garbage is out in that pile. And she didn't even pay 1 red cent for it. My son did. And had his 4 or 5 buddies come by and help him for 2 days to do it. This is a sickness. A fucking sickness. In the past, we've asked her to fix things. Whatever, porch, whatever. I don't care what it was. I don't know what it was. It was something. No. I don't have the money. I had to spend $60,000 to gut some house that somebody had a fucking grow op in. Oh, that was 1 year. That was an excuse. And then another year, same thing, asked her to do something. No, I can't. Because my other house, somebody left the water running and it got into the floorboards and ruined everything and I had to replace all that. Oh, well, you can fix all these other houses with all their fucking problems, but you can't fix this one. Okay. Just the bare bones minimum. Oh. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I have to pay now for a fine. because the city wants me gone. I guess they want me roaming the alleys so they can come in with their fucking undercover hospital transport vehicles. Well, I'm sitting in the alley at 2 o'clock in the morning because they know that if I scream out for help, because we hear that, but I'd have to like go through the front and all the way around, because trying to open up this door is like dangerous because it's not on its rails and the glass is ready to fall out, so I don't even open the fucking door, okay? But she won't fix that. I've been asking 14 fucking years. Never got fixed. But besides that point, I have to go all running around in the dark, bumble through the back in the dark at 1, 2, 3 in the morning to figure out where this person is screaming for help, which is quite regular, like 2 times in the last 2 months anyway, right? You know, it happens. He heard it. He hears it. In the complete dark. Yeah, okay. In the old days, no problem. I'd go out of there like a bat out of hell. I'd be up in somebody's face. Get the fuck away from that woman. Wouldn't be the first time. I've done it. I've saved women up back there from being beat by individuals. But I think it's a little more than that now. No, I do. I think there's some really shady shit going on, especially with this being able to apprehend people and lock them up at a faster pace to hide the mask over of all the homeless people being evicted with the big bins out in front. My son, apparently he asked her not to do that, but she said no. So I don't know what they have in mind. I really don't know what they have in mind. She wants me to go outside tomorrow and talk to her and her son. Oh yeah, sure. No, she can phone my son and talk to him on the phone. I don't know. People, this is a sickness. If she would have been more responsible. She can't use that she's all stressed out over the city when she knows. She knows I've been struggling, people. She's seen me over the summertime fucking struggling. She could see that I couldn't even see the blueberries that she was picking. She could see that I couldn't even see the raspberries that she was picking. But when she was picking them, she sure was enjoying herself. So much so that she didn't want me to push back anything. She wanted to push in there herself and be that little girl among the blueberries and the raspberries and be at peace with herself. But she knew I couldn't see nothing.
I wonder what happened. He bit his hand again.
He bit his hand, eh? Did you give him a bottle of milk?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do I have to wash your cup?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
Can you give him his... Does he have his singy bear?
Yes. I didn't know it was off.
He bites his hand. And then this, if he whines, my heart starts. If he cries, if I hear a sound I'm not used to, oh my God, it's like all day long. Right up until I go to sleep, and even then, it's amazing I've never had a fucking heart attack yet. It's like, no, you don't even know. Like, seriously, you don't even know, Andre. Anyway, I'm going to end this video. So, I don't know, 3 days of watching a bin, I feel like it's being done on purpose. For so that the meme son.
You're not the one that has to watch it, though.
Yeah, Andre's on guard watching, and Marcaine said if you hear somebody throwing something in the bin, holler out the window and call 911 and have the police come and deal with them. Yeah. So try and record it.
You heard my scream before.
So now they got us watching a bin out in the front. Well, my landlady's son is... Oh, shit. He's flexing his muscles, right? Because he's the mean one, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got to show everybody who's boss with the big-ass fucking bin. Yeah, put everybody in check, right? You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I feel about it. I don't know what they expect that we're going to... My son said they're getting the big one because it's just cheaper to do it that way because it costs nothing to drop it off. And nothing to drop it off, and it goes by weight. And that's why Andre has to make sure that nobody's throwing anything in there at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Oh, God forbid. Right? And then, whereas the one that he was going to get was $275, and it would have been a whole lot smaller, and it just would have went in the back. So, you know, he's trying to say that, you know, it's the better deal. That's what he's saying. It's the better deal. And I suppose it probably is, as long as you can keep people from, you know, throwing shit in it, right? And since that's the case, you know, if that's the case, then I'll make an effort to go outside in the back tomorrow, even for a few hours. And even if I have to take a fucking crowbar, because I do got rotten wood out there that needs to be replaced with newer, not newer wood, but other boards that I've got around here that would be fine for those borders I was talking about in like two or three videos ago, right? You know, and that's the kind of stuff I'll work on in the back this year. So Andre, you know, he wants to build a little freaking playhouse, you know, like a fort. Him and Jude want to build a fort this year. So we're going to salvage some of that playhouse as walls for the fort in the back, right under the tree. And you'll give the boys an opportunity to learn how to build things a bit. So, but anything that's, you know, the borders that are rotten, or I have you know, I know what to find. I will do it. I can do it. So in that situation, I suppose, you know, and then now that I know it's a bigger bin, right, I can, that mattress, my son, not mattress, box spring, I don't want it. He can throw it back over the fence and that can go. I don't want it. Yeah. And that will be helpful for me, right? Get it started anyway. Because I didn't do anything, people, because having a disabled child is time consuming. It really is. If I had my own laundry room, a better kitchen, more open space, it would be easier. But I'm boxed in. You know, I got overcrowded because of what was going on with that shit being vacated. Don't get me wrong, I understand, but no, just, you know.
He's not using the truck or the car, he's using the bins. The goddamn recycling garbage bin.
Oh, out in front to put, so to
Even a barrel. Like,
so people can't move
yeah.
stuff. Okay.
No, they can still move it technically. They can move it like...
Well, hopefully they won't move it because...
Just put a sign there, just go like...
Well, nobody's going to put no sign out there at this time of night.
No, just put like a sign goes like, please do not park here. There is a bin coming.
Well, why don't you make a couple signs then and go tape them on the get some paper and just get some scrappy paper. Go look for a notebook and just pull it out and here's the black felt. That's a good idea. There's tape there. You can do that. Here. Okay? Come on, because this is our one chance. Right? Right? When you have lemons, make lemonade. Right? So I guess maybe that's what I should call this video. How about that, people? We'll leave it on this note. City of Surrey. I think it's day 5. I think it is. I don't know. I lost 2 days. It took me 2 days just to recuperate from the 3rd day, and I haven't even recuperated, and now I got behind again because I've been sitting, I sat and I did bills and stuff, and, you know, I'm just a nervous bird, right? And then, City of Surrey, day 5. When you have lemons, make lemonade. Battle of the Suns. And they're buff. Oh my God. Will my landlady forgive me when the blueberries and the raspberries grow? Or will she ask me for more rent because I don't give her enough? She can't use the bin against me. because I'll end up paying for it plus this $350 fine, even if I have to borrow it on my fucking personal loan. I'm not going to let her hold that over my head when, in fact, in all reality, under legislation through the Landlords and Tenancy Act branch, she was always responsible for the yard. Always. And now that I can't do it for her, doesn't give her the right to further abuse me. Being that it hasn't been no easy picnic.